And the store Target just became the latest big company to roll back its diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. In an internal memo sent to employees on Friday, the company announcing that it would end its 3-year DEI goals, as well as a program focused on showcasing Black and minority-owned businesses. Target's Chief Community Impact and Equity Officer noted the decision was made based on years' worth of data and insight. Okay, for more on the insight into what these changes at the private and federal level could mean for U.S. workers and the economy, we're joined by Mary C. Curtis. She's a columnist at Roll Call and host of Equal Time Podcast. Mary, good to see you again. Thanks for taking time to chat with us.
Good to see you.
Let's talk first broadly about DEI measures and why they were instituted in the first place, and what groups really kind of get rolled into DEI, if you will, please.
Well, it's interesting that now these programs are said to be discriminatory because they were established in the first place because of discrimination. And let's face it, looking at the history of this country, for so many years, when you looked at whether it was business or politics or philanthropy, folks at the head were white, straight men. And it wasn't because they were the only ones who were qualified, it's because other folks were locked out. So these programs came, and it's a big umbrella. It's women who have been a beneficiary of it, minorities, African Americans and other minorities, the disabled, because as we know, many people say DEIA because accessibility.
Right.
And you know, and other groups, like say if Harvard's doing its class, they want to have, people want to have veterans, they want to have people from all over the country. So it's a diversity of many kinds. And it's just saying we want to make sure that we get talent from every segment of the country.
So what do you think President Trump's actions mean for the future of affirmative action in the federal government? Because it seems that clearly legal challenges will be coming.
Well, definitely. Well, we see from who the folks are going into his administration so far that the main qualification seems to be loyalty to Donald Trump. Now we see with the embattled defense secretary, they're doing the voting on that, Pete Hegseth. Compare him to the African-American general he is replacing, who has commanded many troops, Lloyd Austin.
Right.
And yes, and Pete Hegseth has very little experience, and there have been attacks on his personal behavior as well to run such a large agency with so many millions of employees. So we see here the idea of merit pretty much turned on its head. But it means that President Trump will be saying that if there are companies that want to do business with the federal government, they won't have these policies in place. And practically, it means that people will be able to discriminate again.
Okay, when it comes to funding, investment, and contracts being awarded, explain, if you will, how and what Trump is demanding and how this could really gum up the works, for lack of a better term.
Well, many private companies have contracts with the federal government, and many organizations do. And you can be sure now he'll be looking at these companies to make sure that the ones that get these lucrative contracts will not have any diversity, equity, or inclusion programs in them. So that's why I believe is one reason you see companies backing off. Although some companies, like Costco, I believe Apple, and so forth, have said that, yes, they are going to stick by their programs. And that's for practical reasons as well, because all the research has shown that a company that has a diverse workforce actually does better on the bottom line, which makes sense because you're getting all talented people. And if you're dealing with a diverse marketplace, these companies are going to be more attractive.
It is amazing seeing how quick these changes have taken place. As you mentioned, I want to follow up on that, a litany of private sector companies are falling in line with what Trump is demanding and axing DEI programs. Amazon, Walmart, McDonald's, we just heard Target, but some aren't, like Costco. But attorney generals in 20 states have written Fortune 100 companies saying DEI laws could violate state and federal laws, and if you implement them, prepare for states to, quote, vigorously uphold those laws. What do you see ahead?
Well, you see, we're a divided country, as you know, the red and the blue. Most of these are Republican-led states where you see this happening. Also, what's kind of interesting, kind of disturbing on the federal level is they're saying that if some companies and organizations try to hide them, have diversity programs that they don't call diversity programs, that other employees should report on them. So it's kind of interesting that this is coming about. So you are seeing this split among the attorneys general. As you say, there will be a lot of pushback, just as there has been on his executive order about birthright citizenship.
Right,
And you
right.
will see a lot of civil rights organizations suing. And as I said, I think, some people are talking about boycotting some of these companies, and we are dealing with a very diverse country. So we will see how it shakes out because we know they're most interested in the bottom line.
Okay, so in the federal government, employees working under DEI measures are on paid leave right now at best, and the Trump administration wants them gone, fired, or laid off. What is this going to do to the federal government overall, its workforce, and just to the morale?
I think it will hurt morale, and I think it's when you shrink the workforce, you will pretty much lay off people, and you might not know all the things they are going through and all of their duties to keep that company running. Because most folks that are employed in the diversity area have a variety of duties throughout the company, and so you'll see, or throughout the department. So you'll see how it shakes out if things aren't able to get done. And when you're talking about something like the military, and Pete Hegseth has vowed to strike these programs and even relieve some of the people of their duties. We have a military in the United States that's very heavily minority. I believe about a third are female. So I wonder, in this case, will it affect recruitment? And that's already a problem in an all-volunteer army. So you'll see it shake out, I think, throughout the government when it gets going. You'll see the impact of it. You'll see people less likely to take their talents to a place that doesn't value diversity. Why would you go to work for a company if you didn't feel that you had a chance at promotion and that people would always be, putting you under the microscope? So I think we've only seen the beginning of this because it's easier said than done, and people are now used to, they recruit at HBCUs and just to get the best talent available. And of course, before these laws and these policies were put in place, so much talent went unused because, say, people said it's too much trouble to have a disabled person or something like that. So I think it will take a while to shake out, and maybe folks will pull back if it doesn't work.
It certainly does chips away at the argument of a level playing field. So we'll just have to see how this all does play out. Mary C. Curtis, always a pleasure. Have a great weekend, my friend.
Thank you. You too, Sean.